I was sitting on a flight coming back from South Africa, because we have business interests there, and I was reading Barack Obama's book about the audacity of hope. And I was trying to work out what he had done right. And there were two things that impressed me. The first one was that he'd actually started very small, and he talked about how he would actually go and stay and visit a few people in a home, sit around their kitchen table and talk to them. But I was really interested in what he had done with the internet. And as I thought about that, I thought, this is something that I'm too old. I'm not going to be able to do this. How can I try and find out about what he did and try and find ways that I could use this? And I saw that he used young researchers. So I asked myself the question, how could I get hold of some young researchers? Maybe I was standing for the county council election last summer. So it was a year ago, and I was thinking, how could I get somebody to help me? And I thought maybe the thing to do is to actually hire a part-time political researcher. So I put an advert in the local paper, and I went down on another trip to South Africa. And the office phoned me, and they said, we are inundated with applications. In fact, there were 85 CVs when I got back. And they kept saying to me, people are asking me, what sort of work is it? What do you want done? And when I got back, I put the 85 CVs into three piles. Those who obviously knew about their politics and lived in the area, those who were obviously knew their politics but weren't, and those who were just after a job. And in the first pile were three young political graduates. So I thought I'll interview them first and just find out. They were all in their early 20s. One had done time with David Cameron, was a Conservative working for a Conservative MP in Cambridge. Another was Livia, who has done time with the Lib Dems, and another was James, who was also, he lent towards the Lib Dems. And I found it fascinating. What appalled me was how little money these people look for. Interns really...
Big mistake.
Interns work for peanuts because they want to start and get a first foot on the system. So I was so impressed with all three of them, I couldn't make a decision, so I employed all three of them. And we had a great time. But the deal was this. If you come and work for me, you're going to have to write a diary, and I want you to write that diary through the campaign exactly as you feel today. And as things happen, and you can say, actually, Jim is a complete idiot, I hate working for him. You can say whatever you like. But I said the deal was that maybe at the end we'll publish it. And that's actually what we've done. And because they've given me the graveyard slot, and you guys are the ones who've actually stayed through to the end, if you would like a copy, if you'd like to email Livia, she will send you a free copy. Now, it's not totally disinterested. This particular book, it's gone to press this last week. I should have the copies this week. We kept delaying it because people would say to me, I think that may be defamatory. I think you might get sued for that. So it's gone through quite a lot of rewrites. And it's called Independence Free Starts, All You Need to Know About Getting Elected as a Local Councillor. And the back half are these researchers' diaries, telling you what it's like to go through a campaign. And the first part is a whole load of anecdotes from me telling you what it's like. I was for 8 years a Conservative councillor. We had a scandal. I was chairman of the backbench committee. We had to get rid of the leader. And I found myself on my own. And so I had to say, right, if I start with a clean sheet of paper, how do I use my knowledge and experience in elections over the last 15 years? How do I do that and get myself elected as an independent? And it's jolly hard. You all know that. And at the last meeting that we had together in London, I think I only got nominated to the executive because I kept saying, no, just a minute, we've tried that. You know, it doesn't quite work that way. So some of what we've learned, we've put into this book. If you'd like a copy of that, free of charge, because you're still here, you can get it. Now, the ulterior motive is this. One of the things we've discussed on the executive is people say to us, why aren't you doing something about the local elections that are going to be happening in the summer? The answer is we haven't got the time or the resources. But the thought was, you may know some people who would be really good as councillors, independent councillors, and they might like to get going. Now, we may be able to give them a bit of help if they're willing to volunteer to do that. And this is a resource which you could say to somebody, look, if you'd like this tells you all about it. This tells you what it's going to be like. So they can buy this from us through Amazon, or Livia will have some stocks or whatever. Now, I've only got 10 minutes, Livia. I think the best thing that we can sensibly do is to say to people, you probably know most of this. Let me just jump to the few things that I don't know about that you might like to explain to people. So come on, I'm going to just ask you, all right? What is MySpace, Bebo and Twitter?
MySpace, Twitter and Bebo are both social networking sites.
if you're serious about getting elected, I think you should sign up for all of them and maintain an active presence. That's what I would say.
And what is a widget? I mean, most of us all, I mean, let's face it, we all know what websites are. Most of you have got them anyway. You know all about these things. So let's just jump to the things we don't know about, or I don't know about. Some of you may not. What's a widget?
A widget is something you can, like a little small promotional space you put on your website. What kind of works as a link to another website. So, for instance, on our blog, we have a little widget for our Facebook page. And we also have, you can do them for Twitter, and usually you can put these little widgets so to link it to another website. So for instance, if you've got your Facebook page, you put a widget to your actual main website, and also on your main website you can link it, you can put a little widget of your actual Facebook page. It's a way of linking websites together so people can find your stuff really quickly.
This one here. Right,
Yeah,
okay, thank you. Right, there we go. That's that one there.
That's a widget.
That's a widget, okay, so, and what's a twibon?
Can you keep clicking? Right, do you see that I love NHS at the top? I don't know if any of you are familiar with Twitter here, but there's a little campaign in the summer that started off saying I love NHS, and it was a response to what was going on about America, what happened to America, and the Americans were very anti the NHS, and it caused a reaction in this country saying we love the NHS, and it was primarily started by young people. So in your Twitter profile, you have like a little picture, and what people did was they put, instead of using that picture, they put I love NHS, and it got, I can't remember how many thousands of people signed up to this, but of course it's very useful for campaigning. If you can do one for, I don't know, Stephen Ford for Hexham, and get people to do that on Twitter, it's a very way of snowballing your campaign.
That's another one. Come on, you got it in here. Right, snowballing, what does that mean?
Snowballing is basically, what's the idea of, like, you get a snowball and you roll it down a hill. So when you first start, it's very small, but as it picks up momentum, it's bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's the analogy. And snowballing is basically trying to get people to talk about your campaign, and it's just a way of sort of promoting your campaign. So social media is essentially snowballing.
And you say here that my website should be sticky. What do you mean by a sticky website?
Okay, the analogy for a sticky website is eating like Chinese rice. Basically, it's very sticky, but you keep all the rice particles stick together, and you want to keep eating more and more. A sticky website is something like the BBC website, what you check out every day because it's got content continually being uploaded and you find it very interesting. The idea of your website that people should go to it, and they shouldn't just look at it once, but these people keep coming back. So it's very important that your website is updated and you've got news feeds and it's interesting, people can interact with it. So that's what you mean when you talk about a website being sticky.
Okay, thanks. Well, Olivia was one of the three researchers, and the other two have gone off, but Olivia has stayed on working for East Herts people, and she's now also working for Independent Network. But if you are interested in trying to find an intern or a researcher, there is a free website.
Yeah, I know some of you use this already. Work for MP, w4mp.org is the best website to advertise for interns because it's used by everyone who's looking for a political job, basically. So
what's it called?
It's www.w4mp.org. I recommend it. It's a free service.
What was then the number?
Sorry?
Yeah. Not the number?
Yeah. W numerical 4 MP. So that's
MP.
Yeah, mp.org. Anyone who wants a political job basically checks that website every day. Because I used to, that's how I know about it. So it's a free service and I recommend that you get on it.
Okay. I know it works because I put in the book, and they told me to take it out when it was too honest, that I felt embarrassed because I was the only member of the executive who wasn't standing for Parliament. So I decided that I ought to. So I'm standing against George Galloway and Jim Fitzpatrick in Poplar and Limehouse, which is going to be really exciting. And I found a researcher to help me on that. We had great debates, and he told me last week he's been chosen for the England debating team for a tour of Chile. So I was wondering why. He really gave me a run for my money.